Good morning, everyone. We had a great weekend today, so I thought we'd take a break from NAR stuff. That's all we've been kind of talking about, and I'm sure everybody is just a little burnt on hearing about NAR stuff and commissions and everything else. We spent the past month going over, a lot of the changes, buyer rep agreements, the new RLA, all of that stuff. It's all recorded in our YouTube channel. If you want to go back and watch any of it, it's also in our back office and in the our private Facebook group. You'll have to obviously scroll down a little bit. So if you want to catch up on any of those previous webinars, but I thought I would dive into a little bit today on some buyer and lead sources. I don't want to say there's anything groundbreaking here, but I do have a long list that I'm going to post in our Facebook group. It's all clickable links of a bunch of referral sites, probably a bunch that you have not heard of. But I kind of keep a running list of those going for anybody who is interested in just having as many sources as possible to have leads coming in. So yeah, if you're interested in that, I'll share that a little bit later in this meeting, but also the PDF version of this will be in the private Facebook group. So next week is a holiday. We're not going to have a team meeting this week. It's a bye week. And I say, let's go ahead and get into it. Please, if you have any questions as we kind of go along, you want to pipe in on some stuff, maybe some experiences you're having in the current market, throw them in the chat. If you want to, speak live, just go ahead and raise your hand. But I thought I would start with a little bit of statistics, mindset, and expectations from generating leads. Because this is where I think a lot of agents really struggle. Is it's really not hard to generate a lead. Anybody can generate a lead. You can do it for $5 a lead on Facebook, same on Google, a little less, a little more. It is not hard to generate a lead. It's the conversion part that agents really struggle with. And I think a lot of that, from what I've spoken with a lot of agents over the years. I've done a lot of lead gen, primarily through mailers and online is how I've generated most of my leads, aside from sphere of influence and referral stuff. My main source for generating just kind of new business has always been either online or, I used to do mailers a long time ago, which they still work. And I did the mailer webinar, I think last month. So it's important to understand, what you're dealing with when you're generating leads, and how to handle them, because I have to say that for the most part, agents are pretty good with calling the lead like pretty quickly, maybe, once or twice, and then they don't get a hold of them. It's kind of like into the trash bin. And so you really you need to shift your mindset away from that a little bit and, get your mind right with how leads can convert and do convert in today's society. So you have to remember that we live in the information age. Buyers and sellers have more information than ever at their disposal, and they do their research. A lot of buyers will come to you, or even sellers will come to you. They've already done the research. They've been looking at properties probably for 2 years online. They've narrowed down probably where they want to live, or they're thinking, that they want to live in a particular place. And then once they start maybe looking at homes, and things change up a bit. But I'd say the vast majority really are coming in with some pretty good knowledge these days. So you have to remember that. Number two, give it time. That is probably one of the biggest challenges I see is that agents want instant gratification. Lead comes in, cool, I'm going to turn this into a sale, and that's just not how it really works. It does take work to develop a relationship and kind of get things moving forward. If the lead is even responsive, a lot of times they're just not going to be responsive, and it's just how the game is played, whether it's in real estate or any business, really. I mean, if you're running across Facebook ads, those businesses are probably closing a small fraction of the sales that they are, promoting out there and getting leads from. They're probably still closing a small percentage of those. So it's how society is. So it's important to have the mindset of, especially with internet leads, that internet leads are not prospects, they're leads, a very small percentage of them actually convert. So you're playing a numbers game all the time and getting as many as you can. What's the difference between prospects and leads? Until you actually have some sort of conversation with them, they're just a lead, they're not a prospect. So once you move them into the prospect phase, that's when you can kind of get excited, and that's when things are starting to kind of progress. But that time in between, them turning, coming in as a lead and turning into a prospect, that's the huge gap right there, where agents are having, or do have a challenge with getting that conversion to happen. A lot of, I'd say most agents do not have systems in place. And so they start throwing money at Facebook ads or Google or something like that. And they're making their one call or two calls on their follow up, and then they don't get a hold of them, leads in the trash. And now you're wasting money, because there's always going to be, you know, months and months generally before they actually turn into a prospect. Some of them are right away. There's always going to be those leads that come in and they're like, hey, yeah, I'm totally inquiring on that house right there. I need some information. And those are great. Those happen. But for the most part, they need some nurturing and things like that. People are just starting to, get serious. And sometimes that can take very, months to progress. If any of you have bought a home recently, think about what your experience was. How long were you looking at properties and preparing and thinking, yeah, I do want to, do this thing? Was it just a week? Was it a month? Was it many years? So everybody else is in the same boat, so use your experience in your recent purchase, if you've made one in the past year or two, and apply that to the leads that are coming in, because they're going to be, generally the same kind of uh, pattern. So getting the systems in place are super important. Whatever that system is, I recommend a contact management system with a really robust follow-up, so that it's constantly working in the background for you. If you're just, putting a lot of leads in there, especially from internet and open houses and things like that, use a spreadsheet. I mean, whatever the method is to your madness, just do that. Whatever works for you, whatever that system is, um, put it in place and work it. So that way there you're not letting all of these other leads that are qualified to buy a house, but they're just not ready yet. Maybe they're not responding to you yet. Let them be nurtured with your content, or like I said, if you're running a spreadsheet or something like that, and you're just calling every week, then that's what your system is. I do recommend a contact management system though. Making a commitment is also very, very important when it comes to lead gen, because if you just do something for a week or two or a month, you're going to be pretty disappointed, and you have wasted 100, 200, 300, 500 bucks, whatever you put out to generate those leads, you will have wasted that money, if you give up too soon. So you really have to have a long game, in your mind, that, okay, I'm going to commit to this for 6 months. I'd say that at a minimum, and, let it run its course at least. And then, of course, along the way, you're going to want to make adjustments. If this is a new system you're putting in place, a new lead generation source you're putting in place, you're going to have to make adjustments to it, because maybe you're getting a lot of leads in, but they're not converting for some reason, or maybe you're running ads and you see that your ads getting clicked a lot, but they're not filling out your forms on your page and stuff like that. Then you have to make little adjustments to dial it in. So um, that's always part of it. And then once you do that, you can do that stuff pretty quickly over the first week or two and kind of get it dialed in, and then let it go and just, monitor it as the months go on. Um, and then setting up long-term and short-term follow-up campaigns is really, really important, because you want, in the beginning, your follow-up campaigns, and maybe it's just you making calls, to be kind of aggressive, as far as calling often. And then, if they're not picking up after a week or two, maybe you're just putting them on a one, every week kind of call, every couple weeks, something like that, just to, try and catch them off guard and see if they'll actually talk. So short term and long term, those follow ups are different in nature. Turning leads into prospects. So the most important thing in our business is the speed to lead as it comes in. Statistics show that 78% of sales go to the first responder. Statistics also show that you have 2 minutes after you get their information to call them and connect with them. Depending on the source of the lead, it could be as little as 30 seconds. Basically, after 2 minutes, your chances of making a connection with a prospect drop significantly every passing minute. I don't really think that this has changed. I mean, over the years, I mean, when we used to have phone books in our house, I mean, people would go to, the business that they were looking for. They would start at the top, make a call, and if that business didn't pick up, they would just go to the next one. They'd go to the next one. They'd go to the next one. So it's a lot the same when you're dealing with this, especially if it's a source like, a Zillow or a Realtor.com or any of these third-party search portals that you're paying. More than likely that lead, that consumer is just going to keep calling until they get someone on the phone, and they'll just move on to the next until they get the answer they're looking for. So it's really important to connect with them very, very quick. If you see that notification come through, to jump on it as you can. Obviously, things happen, but to have the greatest chance of converting it. I call it the land, sea, and air method. Call, text, email. So that's usually my follow-up process. Someone calls in, or I get a lead notification through. It's a call. Okay, they don't answer. I shoot them a text. Okay, nothing there. And then my email to them is generally the same as my text message. Sometimes I'll literally even copy and paste it, throw it into an email, and shoot that off too, if I have both forms of contact information from them. So I like to do that each time I'm following up with some sort of lead that comes in. If you're getting leads from sources that you're paying for, you're paying per lead, it's generally it's good to get them offline as quickly as possible. If you're only communicating through email or only communicating through text, but text's a little different than email. Email is not very reliable, in my opinion. I mean, they could be talking to, 5 other agents potentially, and it seems like they're maybe not even that serious. So getting them on the phone, or even meeting them in person somehow, at a home or something like that. I know that can be a little more challenging now with the new arrangement with NAR, but trying to get them into a real conversation is important, so you can make that connection a little stronger. Being patient. Statistics show that the average incubation period, at least for an internet lead, can be anywhere from 6 to 24 months. I mean, they really are early in the process of, I mean, they're barely even thinking about buying a house, a lot of them, or they're just starting it and they're like, okay, I have a few things, but in the next 6 months, I think I want to make this happen, and then life happens in between, now and 6 months, and then it gets pushed back, or maybe it moves up. But a lot of them are going to be a long-term nurture, just depending on what it is you're marketing out there and what's attracting them to click on or reach out to you. Using the right follow-up campaigns is really, really important. So if you're going to get into a CRM, um, pretty much all of them that I know of come with some sort of built-in like follow-up mechanism, like canned emails and, canned text responses and stuff like that. Those can be good, but a lot of times they're very vanilla, and they're not real engaging. It maybe doesn't even match your personality. So you know, cater those if you can, or create your own follow-up campaigns based on the type of ad that you're running or whatever marketing you're doing, so that everything kind of lines up correctly. And then make sure you're using, long-term and short-term follow-up campaigns, so that, again, everything is kind of lining up right. And it does seem as if you are the one reaching out. That's how the CRM really should be behaving. Partnering up is also good. I found, I used to partner up with realtors, with lenders, a lot before I was really doing loans as well. And I found that that was an excellent way to convert leads, because um, the loan officer that I partnered up with most was a female loan officer. She was great on the phone. She was a really knowledgeable loan officer as well, and she actually really liked converting leads. And so whenever I would generate a lot of leads, and I would share all of them with her, and we would kind of tag team them, because sometimes they just didn't want to talk to me for whatever reason, but they were okay talking to a lender, and vice versa. If they're like, I'm not ready to talk to the lender yet, then she'd say, okay, well, here's a number for, Travis. He can answer any questions. He's a realtor, blah, blah, blah. And it worked really good. We converted leads at a pretty high rate, just by kind of tag teaming them. So it was a great way to convert them as they came in. So on your follow-up campaigns, again, one size fits all is not a good approach. Um, if you're doing buyer-focused follow-up campaign suggestions, the biggest thing that I can suggest is do your best to get them off the third-party search sites, because if you're sending, and this goes for listings that you're sharing, on your Facebook and things like that as well. I highly discourage you to share links to Zillow, Redfin, or anything like that, because all you're doing is sending your customers away. You're sending them to a third party site that sells leads to real estate agents. And no matter what your relationship is, you might get, they might get in contact with a very aggressive, smooth talking realtor who convinces them to use them instead of you, because they're selling every lead that comes in, every contact. And sometimes, you send them you share this link to this property, and your sphere of influence clicks on it, and they're like, oh, I want to schedule a showing, and they click that right there, and they might even think that they're scheduling with you, and all of a sudden they have this other realtor calling them. So get them off those third-party sites as quickly as you can. That's probably my biggest takeaway with that part of the lead gen and marketing. Add value to your messages by answering common buyer questions, regular market updates. There's Altos research. You can get updates in your MLS really easily. I follow a realtor. He shares once a week. He literally just has a saved search in his MLS of how many listings are on the market, and he just posts up once a week you know, what the inventory looks like and has a little bit of feedback on it. That stuff is really easy to do. Obviously invite them to your social media channels, incorporate video if you can. If you're not shy, incorporate video into your messages instead of text. People like that better. Keep it short. Um, Provide links to testimonials, things like that if you have them. If not, I highly recommend building out a Google My Business page. I have material on how to get that optimized if you want it. I'm happy to share it with you. Um, that is a great source. That's where I post my reviews personally. Seller focused, again, get them off Zillow and get them onto your own market updates. Our CRM system, Sierra Interactive, has a market update feature for sellers. All you do is put in the parameters and it'll send it to them on the frequency that you want. Usually I recommend once a month or something like that. It's just a quick little market update. It's nothing salesy or anything like that. It's just data. And so asking, you know, these seller leads if they'd be interested in keeping up to date with what's going on in their neighborhood, a lot of times they're going to say yes. And boom, now you're staying in front of them with some material and they're coming back to your site. Everything else is pretty similar to the buyer campaigns, you know, tailor your marketing messages properly. If you have any value propositions, such as a guaranteed sale program or something like that, pitch it. Pitching it with video is generally best to do. But again, if you're a little shy, then use, you know, some graphics and things like that to make it enticing. So putting in the work, how many hours per week are you willing to devote to actual work on your business? So when it comes to lead generation and prospecting, you actually have to set aside time each week in order to do this properly. And in today's market, it's very, very important to devote many hours per week doing this. And, you know, we tell ourselves a lot of times, I don't have time, I'm busy today, this and that, but there is always time that you can schedule. You can schedule it right in your calendar. I schedule stuff for myself in my calendar to block it out. So that like appointments can't be set with me and things like that during that time because I'm working or something else. So you have to actually put in hours. So statistics show you're putting in less than 20 hours a week prospecting and working on your business. I like to call it adding value to your business, and I like to add value every day somehow to my business, even if it's something very, very tiny. You can basically plan to make only a sale or two this year and earn an average of about 21,000 for the year. So if you're hardly working on your business is going to be reflective of that. Those that are working 60 hours a week, you know, they're crazy on the phone, they're doing lots of deals, they're talking to everybody that comes across them. You know, they're closing a sale or two or better a month easily because the business is just coming in. And in a moderately priced market, they're averaging six figures easy, probably closer, you know, to the maybe 200, 300 mark if they're in markets like San Diego, Orange County, LA, Bay Area, you know, more expensive places. So they're doing very, very well. So, but they're putting in a lot of hours. Basically, if you are just thinking, hey, I want to make 100K this year or something close to that, you're looking at about 30 to 40 hours a week of income producing activities. So that's going to net you, you know, 8 to 10 sales this year at about 80 to 100K. Pretty easy. So, and that's again, whatever your market kind of average median price range is, obviously these will be reflective of that. But these are the statistics. So, you know, if you're a little slow right now, or your business is kind of stagnant, you might want to look at how many hours are you devoting to income producing activities, such as prospecting and lead generation. So right now, it's putting in the overtime. It's imperative right now to be able to thrive in these market conditions right now. Actually, over the past 3 years, there's less buyer pool out there. Sellers are, hesitant to put their house on the market because of their rate they have and different things like that. So really putting in the overtime to get through, the past 2 years, and then, this year as well. I think next year we will start to see an uptick. We started to see that at the beginning of this year a little bit, but it kind of fell off, with this NAR settlement and then election season. And I really don't know what any of that's really going to change for buyers. It's not changing the price of homes or anything. So I do think that things are going to be on track a little better next year because rates will begin falling. So I'm going to jump in the chat super quick. What is a guaranteed sale program? Basically, I'll have your home sold in 30 days or something like that. It's a guaranteed sell. Like I'll list for free if I don't sell it in 30 days. Like you probably see them on billboards and stuff from some realtors too. They have like a guaranteed sale program. So where are we at? Okay. Generating listing appointments. So there's a method out there called GPS or 135, whatever you want to call it. Goal, priority, strategy. Set your goal, define your 3 priorities that will help you achieve that goal, and then implement your 5 strategies to, again, help you achieve that goal. So a sample roadmap for obtaining 1 listing per month might be, okay, hey, here's my goal. I'm writing it down. It's on the board above me. I look at it every day. I want to get 1 listing per month. Okay, well, what's the priorities I need to do? What do I need to do in order to obtain 1 listing per month? Well, I want to start building an online presence. I want to direct reach out, and I want to work on my SOI, my sphere of influence. So what would the strategy be? So we need some strategy for this. So online presence. So website. Get a free one with your NAR membership. This can be a long game thing. There's tons of free or very low cost website options out there. It really depends on what you're planning to do with your website. I can give you a lot of recommendations if you want to set up a one-on-one with me. We can talk about website stuff. But generally, if you're going to be driving traffic to your website, the website is the lead generator itself. So if you're going to be doing that, you want to make sure you have really good lead capture and things like that. Facebook business page, you want to get one set up. You want to start posting to it and things like that. Again, this is more long game, but you're going to need this stuff built into your overall business. Google My Business profile, primarily for your reviews and things like that. There's a lot of agents that have optimized their Google My Business profile, and they actually post to it a few times a week to keep it active. They solicit reviews on there, and they get free leads. I know one personally who gets almost all of her listing business for free from Google My Business, from her Google My Business page. And that's because she has it optimized and she's on there all the time. She spends she spends time on it each week, not tons of hours, but maybe an hour. So think about getting that. Professional profiles. I'm no fan of Zillow, but having your realtor profile on Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, LinkedIn, and any other site that will allow you to add in your free realtor profile, I highly recommend. So that way there, when you're doing marketing and consumers Google your name, so okay, who's this realtor? Let's see if they're doing any business or anything like that. You're going to have at least all these profiles show up, which reinforces that you are a legit person to do business with. YouTube channel, long game. So even if you're not ready to make video content, such as explainer videos and things like that, at least get it set up so that you can. It's a great place to put, your walkthrough videos from your listings and at least some stuff like that. So you do have a little bit of video content, even if it's not you physically speaking to the audience. Maybe you're just doing your video walkthroughs. So this would be, one of the things you'd be doing, one of the three. Then let's say you want to do some direct reach outs. So you're going to do expired listings. You want to focus on those. You're going to want to spend like 2 to 4 hours a week doing this. Expired listing leads are ready to sell, but may take some convincing to choose you. They've already said yes to selling their home at least once to another realtor. Maybe it didn't go well. Maybe they took their home off the market for whatever reason. But they've already said yes once. So they are a great source for generating listings. For sell by owners, also have already said yes to I want to sell my home. They probably have it listed, and reaching out to for sale by owners 2 to 4 hours a week can also net you at least one listing a month. I mean, our goal right now is one listing a month for this, this sample here. So these are the things that you could be doing to obtain that. FSBOs are clearly ready to sell. Around 85% of FSBOs end up working with an agent anyways. So that's a really high percentage. So I think this is a market that a lot of agents just don't touch on very often at all. And some of them can be a little difficult to work with, but some of them are just kind of fed up. And that might be happening right now too, because it's been a little slower on the listing side. I've had a lot of the team asking me. I had a text message today even like, hey, our other agents saying the listings are slow, and they are a little bit right now. So the FSBOs might be feeling the same thing. Open houses, 3 to 8 hours a week. Okay, usually we think open houses equal buyers, but that's not necessarily true, because sometimes buyer leads are also seller leads. Or sometimes if you're doing enough open houses in an area and the neighborhood sees you out there every weekend or every other weekend, however often you're going to do it, you're going to have neighbors coming over, and they're going to maybe talk to you about selling their home. And it's a great place to get listing leads. I know an agent that does that pretty exclusively over in Norco, and that's where he gets most of his business every week, is open houses, and that's where he gets a lot of his listings actually. Direct mail, I went over the direct mail last month, but spending just about 2 to 4 hours to send out a campaign once a month, totally worth it. It will generate listing leads if you're doing that mailer correctly, and I do have a previous webinar on that. Facebook ads, Google pay-per-click, 1 to 2 hours a week. That's usually just maintaining the ad itself, because you do need to go in there and kind of tighten it up and do a little work on it. But it's a great source. And then sphere of influence, this is where when I talk to everybody on our team, the vast majority of them get their listings and their buyers through their sphere of influence. They were referred from a friend or something like that. That is always the top, source for business. It seems like when I talk to a lot of agents. So make sure your online reviews are there. Networking with real estate adjacent professionals, insurance agents, mortgage officers, tax preparers, landscapers, contractors. My landscaper, he's been the landscaper for this a previous community I lived in, and then he did all the homes in that community. That community had hired him because they maintained the front lawn. And then I asked him when I moved if he would do my lawn, and he did, or he does. And he always tells me when listings are coming up. He's like, oh, so and so passed away and the one house on the corner and they're going to be selling it. And he's right every time. So it's kind of funny actually that my gardener tells me where the listings are coming up. Um, Hosting public events, sponsoring youth sports, music, academics, or volunteering. That's a great one. And the newsletters. So these would be the three things you can do, the three different areas you can do. You can see we have 5 in each one that we came up with. So that's our 135 or our GPS, goal, priority, strategy. So we defined our 3 priorities, which were the online presence, direct reach out, SOI, and then we had 5 strategies within each one of what we're going to do. And if that seems like a lot, do make it fit you, Maybe it's 1, 2, 3, one goal, 2 priorities with 3 strategies in there. So okay, so expired listings. When I talk about expired listings, I usually am not referring to the listing that expired today. I'm referring to listings that expired weeks ago, months ago, even years ago. Those ones have said yes to selling at some point. They did not relist for some reason. And they are a prime source of new listing leads, or just getting a relationship going with them will, maybe you can match up a buyer. You look, if you know what price they're willing to sell for, and you have a buyer come along that's like, oh, I'm really looking in this one neighborhood, and you can say, you know what, I know of an off market potential. So maybe you're not even just listing it, but you will put the deal together because you have reached out, you've developed some sort of relationship with this expired listing, and you know that they will sell for a certain price, but maybe they just don't want to go on the market again for whatever reason. Maybe they're serious enough, but not serious enough to put it on the market. So I would focus on the older expired listings, and I do have a source for you for you that I'm going to talk about here shortly. So statistics on expired listings, only 28% of them will relist with their current agent. That's a pretty low number. 35 will leave their home off market for a month or more. Statistics indicate that most of these will relist with another agent within 90 days. 37% will relist with a new agent within 30 days. Over 70% chance you can get the listing. Most that relist do so within the first or second agent that contacts them. Historically, July is the second biggest month for expired listings, and January is the first. So those numbers look pretty good when you're kind of breaking it down. You're like, I don't want to make these calls and things like that. But again, if you want to thrive in today's industry, and if you're not working your sphere of influence, you have to do something to get listings. And this is a good source, and the statistics are in your favor if you're making the calls. The FSBOs. So FSBOs accounted for 7% of home sales in 2023. I don't have the yearly data yet on 2024. We're still in 2024. The typical FSBO home sold for about 310 compared to about 405. This is actually nationally. If you look at that gap, though, I mean, they're taking a big haircut by not listing with an agent. Methods they use to market their home. So, use this data right here to have conversations with them about how you can do better to get their home sold and for a higher price. Most of them are networking through their friends, relatives, and neighbors. Someone put a yard sign up. Third-party aggregators, that's going to be your Zillows and things like that, where they manually post the home on there. For sale by owner websites, open houses, they're doing a lot of the same stuff, but just not very well. Most difficult tasks for a FSBO. So these are pain points to address in your conversation with them. preparing, fixing up the home. About 4% say that's difficult for them. Getting the right price, 15%. Understanding and performing paperwork, 7%. Actually, that number is much higher if they were actually doing things correctly. Selling within the planned length of time, 7%. Having enough time to devote to all aspects of the sale, 4%. Attracting potential buyers, 4%, and then helping buyers obtain financing, 5%. So, where can you find expired FSBO listings? Contact info. Obviously, MLS every week, or every day, it shows you what listings were expired, but you don't have the homeowners information in MLS. So you do need to use some sort of third party data provider. There's a few in here that are pretty popular with agents on getting data of FSBOs and expireds, basically getting contact information from buyers and sellers, well, mostly homeowners. So you can use those. Obviously, you can use your favorite title company. They can pull these lists as well. They usually don't charge you for that. Sometimes they do, but it's very inexpensive, like 4 to 12 cents, depending on what data you're wanting to get from them. Another underutilized is networking with out-of-state agents. I'm not just referring to, hey, sending out a drip email, but actually networking with them. I saw a realtor in my feed. She's a very busy realtor, and she's doing collaborations in YouTube with out-of-state agents, and she's doing them in states where they're seeing an influx of Californians. So she's doing like a series with them, like pros and cons of living in such city and such state, and she does this collab, and then obviously that's going to be found when someone is searching pros and cons of living in that city out of state. They're going to come across that and hopefully reach out to that out-of-state agent to talk to them about buying a house there. And in return, you can get the listing business if they have to sell their home, or if they're planning on selling their home, as a referral or whatever like that from that agent, depending on what kind of relationship you set up with them. So that is, again, YouTube, kind of a long game, but that stuff is evergreen. Pros and cons of living in a certain city, that can stay on the internet for years and get tons of views. You can share that over and over and over again. That is a really good way to also generate listings, is networking with outside agents who can't do business here. So that one's pretty underutilized. I have a whole plan of attack here. I'm going to post this in our Facebook group, the PDF here, if you want to kind of read through that on networking with out-of-state agents. Personally, I think the YouTube collab is probably the best way. Facebook moving to groups, also very low key. So there's a lot of Facebook groups out there that are like, moving to from California, moving to whatever, this area of Texas or this area of Idaho. I mean, Florida, there's a ton of them out there. All you have to do is search it up in Facebook, and you'll see all the moving to groups. And pretty much all of them are run by either marketers. Most of them are real estate agents and or lenders. And they know that if they are running a group of engaged people asking questions about the place where they do business, that they're going to get business. So they're not salesy. All they do is answer questions. I had joined a bunch because I wanted to see if they would let me in as a realtor, and some of them did not. But many of them did, and all of them sent me a private Facebook message, asking if I was considering moving to the area, what my timelines were. Like they were reaching out. And so I had some conversations with some of them, and Yeah, they get business from it for sure. But if you're a part of that, or some of them have a referral network that they've set up with agents in various areas of California, and they're like, okay, cool. Well, I can put you down as a referral agent, and then I'll let you know when we have someone that's moving from California, and then we can set up a referral. So those people are seeking information. If you join into those groups to seek information, you don't want to solicit those people, but you do want to answer questions. Um, because those are run by, that'll get you kicked out of the group real quick. And they're there to seek information, not to be solicited for sales. So you don't want to say, oh, I see you're trying to move, I'll sell your home in California. Like that's definitely not the right approach with that. As far as lead sources, these, and I'm a part of, I don't know, at least 6 of these that I have gotten business from. I have a pretty long list. If you would like to have this, I'm going to post this, like I said, this PDF in the comment section of the Facebook group. All you got to do is click, and register. Some of them are not taking new agents. Maybe they're full. Some of them are. Some of them have parameters like minimum sales over the past year, things like that. So not all of these are going to work for you, but signing up with as many as you can and opening up opportunities to receive new leads, I think is smart. Now, all of these are a pay at close model, or at least the vast majority of them are. That's the list that this is. So they don't charge up front generally. Some might have a small sign up fee or something, but usually they don't charge up front. You sign a referral agreement with them. If they refer you a lead and you close it, generally it's going to be from 20 to 35% of that commission that you're going to need to pay them at closing, which sounds a little steep, but at the same time, they're literally sending you free leads in the sense of you're not paying for them up front. You haven't done anything aside from register with them. So the more of these you're a part of, the better chances you have of getting something from someone. So if you want to take a look at those, and then as far as CRMs and things like that go, if you're unfamiliar with our Business Essentials or Business Accelerator, we have two different setups. The Business Essentials is going to give you basically what you need to convert the leads that you're generating. We also put into to our CRM in a lead pond for everybody. You can go in there at any time and try and work these leads. And they are for sale by owner contacts, they are expired listing contacts. And we also do pre-foreclosure contacts. So people, homeowners who are in default on their house, they're behind a payment or more. We're putting those in the lead pond. So you would just go over here. So we're looking at the dashboard of our contact management system. If you want a user account and you only want, to use this for your own personal, and you wanted access to the lead pond, the lead pond's in here. Everything is tagged as either expired, for sale by owner, or pre-foreclosure. The contact information is in there from what we can get. We pulled these from Redex. So you can come in here and you would have access to the lead pond in your particular county, and you can kind of pick and choose. The home addresses are in there. You can see if it's close enough to you to try and work it. They're labeled as do not call if it is a do not call. And then we are on the accelerator. We do provide additional live leads. So we've been running Facebook ads for the past couple years, and we are actually shifting over to a new campaign. And we're testing it out right now. These are 10 of the leads that have come in over the past week or so. And it's called the virtual sign call. So the way that we're generating these leads is through Google pay-per-click, and it is a sponsored ad when someone Googles an address of a home. So why is that important? Because when someone Googles the address of a home, they're seeking information on that particular home for a reason. Maybe they want to go view it. Maybe it's a looky-loo, maybe it's their neighbor's house, they just want to view pictures of the inside or something like that, but generally, they are seeking some information on that house, which is a higher intent lead than a Facebook ad running across somebody who is not seeking information, but Facebook thinks that maybe they would like the content that is in this ad. So this is a much better, higher intent lead that we're testing right now and coming through, and you can view the listings that they're looking at, and you can see how active they are on the site. These are some of the older ones that came in. The one views are the one view that they viewed, and you can see it was a $3 million home. So, and now they're getting on to the site and looking at a lot of other things, because now we're feeding them more listings. Because they're in our database, and now they're receiving all of our follow-up nurturing stuff. So these would be round robin to you as available in the areas that you serve. We're not quite ready to roll this out 100%, but probably by next week we will be. So if you're interested in that, this is what we're shifting to for the $100 a month program. It's a great source, because you'll have still all the expired FSBO pre-foreclosure contacts that you can go in there and call at any time. If you start talking to them and things are progressing, you can claim it as your own and put it into your user account, just to get it out of the lead pond. And then we'll be adding in these live ones as well. And then the other thing it comes with, which I really like, is a seller lead site. So basically you can go and put in an address of a home. I'm just going to grab one from our site real quick. So this is our seller lead site. It's accurateHouseValues.com. You can put in your own domain name, whatever you want. You'll put in the address. That's in Woodland Hills. It's going to ask them how many bedrooms it is. I'm just taking a guess here. Are you thinking about selling? We'll just call it yes. They're going to put in their name. They're going to get their report. And it doesn't say, hey, thanks for the contact information, I'll send you a CMA. It actually gives them a value, just like Zillow, Redfin, any of those places. So obviously it's a robot. It's an automated home value. It's not always 100% correct, but that is not the point. The point is I just captured someone's contact information who is seeking out their home value for some reason. Maybe it's a refi, maybe they're just curious, maybe they're thinking about selling pretty soon. And so that's really good, because now you have contact information from someone who is thinking about selling, and you can start drip mailing them and reaching out to them. The one thing I found with this is, if for some reason, it's like condos can be a little choppy sometimes because they don't put in, the unit number correctly or something like that, or maybe a mobile home, same thing. And so it won't give them a report. When that happens, I just go and search it up. I do a little manual CMA, and I reach out to them and say, hey, it looks like it didn't, register your address properly. Here's your home value report, and then try and open up conversation from there. So this is included in with the business essentials plus the contact management system.